Test 1 practice. I'm going to go over problems from test 1 practice, and I'm going to give you some idea how you can answer these questions. Okay, if questions are repeated, then I'm going to skip those repeated questions. In this practice test, as you can see, there are 28 questions. If you just click here, you will be able to see 28 questions, but in actual test there are only 20 questions. So let's start. Determine whether the graph is that of function. An open dot indicates that the point does not belong on the graph. So to be a graph of a function, it should passes the vertical line test. Vertical line test means if you draw a vertical line through this graph, then no vertical line should intersect more than one point. So here you can see that if there is a dot and open circle, that means they are not on the same line. Open circle doesn't mean that the open circle mean that you are not including that point. So by looking this graph, you can say that this is the graph of a function. The answer is yes. So you can just choose answer yes and you say okay. So next question, find out the value of the function from the graph. As you can see that you want to find out the graph is the name of the graph is h, and you want to find out the value of the function, this graph, when x is 4, 6 and 7. So we're going to focus here when x is 4. As you can see that on the x-axis, if you just walk on the x-axis when x is 4, you can see the point on the graph which is -1. That is the value of y. Okay, so that is the answer for the first one. When x is 4, the value of the function is -1. When x is 6, the value of the function is 3. And when x is 7, the value of the function is 2. Okay, so it's a -1, 6 and 2. -1, 6 and 2. And no, when x is 6, the value is 5. It's not no, value is 3, so it's 3. So -1, 3, and at 7 it's a 2. 3 and 2. Okay, find out the value of this function at different points. This is very similar to the previous problem we did. You just have to in this case, instead of using a graph, you have to plug the value of x in the function. So as you can see here, I'm going to use for the first one, g of x. This is problem 3, question 3. G of x is x over square root 4 minus x square, and you want to find out g of 0. So just replace x by 0, and that would be 4 minus 0, which is eventually 0 over square root of 4, which is eventually, if you don't have 0 on the denominator, you don't have any problem. So 0 over any non-zero number is always 0. So the answer for the first one is 0. By doing the very same same trick, like plugging the value of x, replacing the x by different numbers like -2 or +6, you can find out the rest of the answer, and -2, +6 and 3 over 4. Okay, so if you put x equal to -2 here, it will be I'm going to do one more, and then after that I will leave you to do the rest of the thing. So for b, if you replace x by -2, that will be -2 over square root of 4 minus -2 squared. So that will be -2 over square root of 4 minus, here's the square of -2, that will be actually +4. So 4 minus 4 is 0. So whenever you see 0 on the denominator, that means it's undefined. So for the second one, you can say that the value of the function at -2 does not exist, or it's undefined, does not exist. That's the same thing. So I'm going to check the answer for these two only, and for 6 and 3 over 4, you can do the very same trick. Okay, you can use the very same trick. What is that? Okay, it's not letting me to check the answer, so let's do I'm going to I'm going to show you the completed work. So completed work. As you can see that when you replace x by 0, the answer is 0. When you replace x by -2, the answer would be it does not exist. Okay, and then you can keep continuing for the rest of the thing. Okay, we need to plot the graph for this cubic function. So if you click the the option here, you can see that there are different kind of options: a straight line, quadratic function, and cubic function. So whenever you have a straight line, you just choose this one. If you have quadratic, which is 2 degree, if the power is 2 maximum, you choose this one. If power is more than 2, like 3, then you choose this one. Make sure that when you choose this one, this is a cubic cubic one. So to plot the graph of cubic one, you always have to pick at least 4 points. So to find the points, what you have to do is you have to use the value of the function. So this is problem 4. So y equal 2x cubed is given. So I'm going to make a table here. I'm going to choose different x, and then for different x, I'm going to use that function for finding the value of y, this one. So if x is, let's say, 0, then y would be 2 times 0, which is 0. So this is the 1 point. Let's pick one negative number. When x is -1, this value would be 2 times -1 cubed, so which is eventually -2. Let's pick positive one. If x is 1, then 2 times 1 to the power cube is 2. We need at least 4 points. These are just 3 points. So let's pick 2. If x is 2, then 2 times 2 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. So 216. So any 4x, just pick any 4x which is inside this coordinate system, and find out the y using this formula, and that will give you the order pair. That will give the points, and you just have to use those points. So 0, 0, -1, -2, +1, +2, and 2 and 16. These are the 4 options we're going to pick. So this one, the first one is 0, 0, -1, positive, -1, -2, -1, -2, +1, +2, and then finally 216. 216. Okay, so that's our graph. That's the right one. Okay, so this is the graph for we need to choose the graph for -14 over x. Before you do this one, you have to just make sure that if you are dealing with this is called reciprocal function. If you are dealing with 1 over x, then the graph of this function, if you plot so many points, you will be able to see that the graph of this function would be look like this. Okay, so this is the standard graph for 1 over x. In this case, what you are doing is you are multiplying this by 14 and -14. So because you are multiplying it by -14, whatever points you get here, that will come down, and whatever points you have here, that will go up. So eventually the graph should look like, this. So remember, you have to understand the difference. This is the graph for 1 over x, and you can find this graph by plotting so many points. Find out x equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then for x equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, find out the value of y. And for x equal -1, -2, -3, find out the value of y, and that will give you this shape. This is called reciprocal function. And now because you are multiplying this by negative, so whatever y value you have here positive, that becomes negative. Whatever y value you have here, that becomes positive. So it will just flip. So whenever you see the option, this is the option you are looking for. So if you look at the option here, option B and option D are those 2 options, but you need to find out which one is the right option. For that, you can just pick a particular point. For example, let's say when x is let's say 1, when x is 1, the value should be -14. So here you can see is it -14? Okay, it's -14. So what about this one? Let's say this one. When x is 1, the value is not negative 14, it's something else. So this is not the right graph. I'm finding the value of the function when plugging x equal to 1 here. Then the value should be negative 14, and this is the one option we have, the right option. Next problem, we have given a graph of a function, and then by looking this graph we need to find out for what value of x the function is 0. Function 0 means the y value is 0. So whenever you try to solve this kind of equation, try to find out the points, where the graph intersect the x-axis. So as you can see that this graph intersect the x-axis at -4, 0, and +6. At these 3 points only the function value is 0. So that means you can solve this one. You can find the point x where the function is 0 by looking the graph, which is -4, 0, and 6. -4, comma 0, comma 6, and you need to use the comma here as instructed. Okay, find the slope and x-intercept to the graph of the equation. Slope you can find by by changing the equation into slope intercept form. So this is the equation. First of all, write down this equation in terms of y equal m times x plus c, meaning bring the x term to the right side and divide both sides by the coefficient of y. So to bring the x to the right term, just add 2x. By doing that, you will be able to find 2x plus 12. But you want to compare this with this equation. This is standard slope intercept form. So divide both sides by 3. And if you do that, you find y equal 2/3x plus 4. So as you can see that this value in front of x is your slope, and this number 4 that gives you the y-intercept. Find the slope and x-intercept of the graph of the equation. Okay, so we are looking for the x-intercept, not the y-intercept, but at least we have slope. Slope is 2/3. Now for finding the x-intercept, just put y equal to 0. So for finding x-intercept, put y equal to 0 in the original equation. That would be easier. Okay, this is the original equation. If you put y equal to 0, then this equation gives you -2x equal to 12. And now solve for x. If you solve for x, that will be -6. So the x-intercept is -6, 0. Okay, so the slope is 2/3. Slope is 2/3, and then x is type an integer or a simplified fraction. So if you this is your x-intercept, this -6, they are just asking you this -6 here, so I'm going to just use -6. Okay, so don't type order pair in the here when plugging the answer. You have to always read the instruction. Okay, so we have given graph and we need to find out the x-intercept, y-intercept, and then slope. So we are going to use this graph. X-intercept means when the graph intersects the x-axis. So this is the point where the graph intersects the x-axis. So which is when x is this is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So it's a 3. Y-intercept is -1. Okay, so it's a +3 and -1. Slope means it's a rise over run. So let's pick this point. The rise is 1 unit. Run is 1, 2, 3 units. So the rise over run is 1/3. So the answer for the x-intercept is 3, -1, and 1/3. 3, -1, and 1/3. So now the slope is this. Simplify your answer. What is y? So you want to write down the slope intercept form, the equation of this one. Slope intercept form is y equal mx plus b, where b is the y-intercept. So I'm talking about this equation. After finding the slope and then y-intercept is c, just plug the value and it will give you the answer. So this is slope is 1/3 mx plus c is y-intercept, which is -1. So that's your answer. Intercepts vertex maximum or minimum range. So this is the graph we have given. This graph is graph of quadratic function, this one, the 2-degree. Intercept means where the graph intersect the x-axis, that's the x-intercept, and when the graph intersect the y-axis, that's the y-intercept. In this case, 0 is x and y both intercept, and there is one more intercept for the x, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 0 6 are the x-intercept, 0 is the y-intercept. Vertex means this value, the minimum value on this graph. If the graph is facing up, the vertex is minimum value. Okay, and you always need to answer this vertex as a pair of x coordinate and y coordinate. So as you can see that the x coordinate is 1 2 3, the y coordinate is -9. So 3 comma -9 is your answer. Okay, so if you want to answer this question, x-intercept there are two, 0 and 1 2 3 4 5 6, 0 and 6. Y-intercept is 0 only because the graph is intersecting the y-axis at 0 only. Vertex is 1 2 3 and -9, 3 and -9. Am I right? Yes, -9. And what else? Maximum or minimum value. For the maximum, as you can see that if you just keep going, the graph is keep going up, so there is no maximum value, but you know that this is the minimum one. So the minimum value is -9. Minimum is -9. And the range means the y value. If you look at the graph, the minimum is -9, including -9, and it's going up and up and up. So it's going up and up and up, so it will go up to infinity. So this is the range, this is the minimum value, so we are going to use this answer here. So x-intercept, y-intercept is 0, x-intercept is 0 comma 6, and the vertex is 3 comma -9, and the function has a minimum value of -9, and the range is -9 comma infinity. Okay, a plant can manufacture 50 golf clubs per day at a total day cost of 5,401 and 60 golf clubs per day for a total cost of 6,151. Assuming that daily cost and production are linearly related, meaning they are they are a straight line, you can use the straight line when you plot these points. Find the total daily cost C of producing X golf clubs. So to answer this question, you have to understand this is about the line. So 10, you have given two information. The first is how many golf clubs, so number of golf clubs, and then what's the price. So if X is number, and if you want to find out the cost is a function of X. So in our case here we have given 2 points. The first point is to make 50 clubs you have to spend 5,401, and to make 60 clubs you have to spend 6,151. So these are the 2 points you have given. And also you have to keep in mind part A, it's assumed that the club, number of clubs and then cost, they are linearly related, meaning you can use equation of straight line to represent this cost function. Okay, so now what you do to find out this cost function, you take one point like this one, x1 y1, and you take another point, this one, x2 y2, and find the equation of cost function. And for finding the equation of cost function, you need to find, because this is a straight line, you need to find slope of this line by using these 2 points. by using these 2 points. So y2 minus y1 over, that's the formula for slope, x2 minus x1. And if you plug the value of y2, y1, x2, x1, so that's a 6151 minus 5401 divided by 60 minus 50. So just simplify this and it will give you slope. And after finding the slope, to find out the equation, to find out the cost function, you have to use this formula. There is a, you can find out the equation of straight line by using this formula, y minus y1 equal m times x minus x1. So you can bring this y1 to the right side. So you can write y equal m times x minus x1 plus y1. So this y is actually the function we are trying to create, which is cost function, is equal to slope, which you can find by using this information. And you can use x1 and y1, from one of these points. Let's say this one is x1, y1. So by using this fact, you will be able to find out the cost function. Okay, so I will let you find out this slope. Just use a calculator and then find out this one. I'm going to use my calculator here. If I subtract 5401 from 6151, 5401 divide by 10, because 60 minus 50 is 10, it's a 75. It's 75. Okay, 75. So now here we need to put a slope, which is 75, x minus x1. So x1 is the x coordinate here, it's 50 plus y1 is the y coordinate, which is 5401 for the first point. So if you distribute this 75, it will be 75x minus 75 times 50 plus 5401. And if you just simplify that, that will be 75 minus 50 is 3750, which we want to subtract from 5401. That will be 1651. So cost function is 75x plus 1651. So that's the cost function. And after that, this is a straight line. You have to just plot the graph of the straight line. When x is 0, the y is 165. When x is 1, you can find out those information and choose the right graph. So let's say this is 75x and 1651. If you try to choose the right graph here, so let's start with this one. When x is 0, the y is this is 20,000. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So each line is 2,000. It's less than 2,000, so that's right. So let's pick something else. 200. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So that means 20. So if x is 20, then let's say what happens. Let's find out exact point. There is no exact point, there is just approximation. So let's say when x is 20, if you put x equal 20 here, then what do you get? So 75 plus 20, 75 times 20 plus 1651. So that's 3151. So when x is 20, it should be 3151. So this is 20, this is 40. 31 should be somewhere here, so that's not right one. So let's choose another one. 20. It looks right. Let's choose this one because it gives you the exact point here. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 8 means as it's 160 because each one is 20. So when x is 160, the value should be 1 2 3 4, so 8,000, right? Because each is 2,000. So if you plug x equal to 160, let's see what happens. I'm talking about by using this function, we're trying to find out the right graph. So if x is 160, it should be 75 times 160 plus 1651. So I'm using my calculator here. 75 times 160 plus 1651, which is 13,651. So if you look at here, when x is 160, 1, 2, 3, 4, it should be 8,000, but we got 13,000. So this is not the right graph. Okay, so this is not the right graph. So let's go here. Choose something, exact point. So when x is 0, the y is 1651. So this is 2000. 16 should be somewhere here. We know for sure this last one is not right, because when x is 0, it's the cost is 0, but that is not the case. Cost should be 1651. So this is not right. We know this is not right. We know this is not right, so it should be the case. Oh, I need to answer other question as well. Interpret the slope and y-intercept. Choose the correct answer below. So slope is 75. So as x grows, the cost grows. 75 is the slope. So rise over run. If you see, rise over run, slope means slope is the difference in y value over difference in x value. So these are the options you have available. We know the slope is 75 over 1 here. So if you read here, the y-intercept is the fixed constant, and then slope is the cost per cloud. The fixed cost and cost per cloud sum to the y-intercept. The slope is the ratio of the two costs. Okay, the y-intercept is the cost per cloud. No, so the answer is first one, because the y-intercept is the fixed cost, meaning when x is 0, the fixed cost. No matter if you don't produce golf clubs, even in that case, you need to pay 1651. And slope is the cost per club. So if you produce one club, then you need to that rises your cost by 75. So that's the right answer. Okay, in this problem I'm going to use completed work, so that it will be easier for me to explain here. It's just explanation. We want to answer the question for finding the limit, and when we try to find out the limit for the first part, as you can see that when x approaches to 2 from the left side, this negative means from the left side. So you can see that this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. X equal to 2 is this one. When when x approaches to 2 from the left side, the graph is constant here. The value of the graph is 3. So from the left side, the limit is 3. Let's go to the next one. From right side, again, either you approach to 2 from left or right, the value is approaching to 3. So in both cases, the value is 3. So because the left hand limit and right hand limit, that's called left hand limit, and this is called right hand limit, both of them are equal. That's why the limit does exist, and that's 3. Okay, and finally, what is the value of the function when x is 2? So one more time, when x is 2, the value of the function is 3 again. So what's the limit when x approaches to 8? By using the limit law, just plug x equal to 8 here. If you do that, you will be able to find out the limit. So that is 8 times 8 minus 2. If both of them gives you there is a property of limit. If the limit of the first function and limit of the second function exist, you can just replace x by that number you have given. So so this is the when x approaches to a, and if there is a product of two function f of x and gx, you can always find the limit of the first function times the limit of the second function. But to use this property, you have to make sure that both of the limits exist. So in our case, it's x when limit x approach to 8 times limit x approach to 8 of x minus 2. So both of them exist. It's just you know replace x by 8, which is 8 times 6, which is 48. So the limit for this function is 48. Okay, we have given piecewise function and we want to answer some part of it. So I'm going to use completed work here, and there are 4 different parts. So what is the limit of function when x approaches to 0 from the right side? From the right side you have to use this part, 18 minus x. When x approaches to 0, you just replace this x by 0, so it would be 18. From left side you just use the first part, because that is coming from the left side, and if you replace x by 0, it will be 18 as well. So since left hand limit and right hand limit when x approaches to 0 is 18, both of them are same, that's why the limit of the function is also 18. And if you try to find out the value of the function when x is 0, you can use the first part, because that's where the function is defined. When x is equal to 0, you have to use this one. When x is less than 0, you have to use this one. The only for x is greater than 0, you have to use the second part. Okay, it's easy one. Some of the questions, like there is a polynomial, you want to find out the leading terms. Leading terms means the term with the highest power of x. So as you can see that the highest power of x is x to the power 5. So the leading term would be everything there from there, which is x to the power 5. Now the limit of p of x as x approaches to infinity. This is polynomial function. When x approaches to infinity, the polynomial function also approaches to infinity. If it's so as you can see that the leading term, you have to focus on the leading term here. That's the reason we found the leading term. So when x approaches to infinity, what happens to that leading term, which is x to the power 5? The same thing happens to whole polynomial. So when x approaches to infinity, the polynomial becomes infinity. When x approaches to negative infinity, you have to look at again the limit, the leading term. When x approaches to infinity, x to the power 5 approaches to infinity. But when x approaches to negative infinity, this x to the power 5 goes to the negative infinity. So same thing happens to the polynomial we have given. So the characteristic of the polynomial, property of the polynomial, these are the property. This property depends on the leading terms. So find out the horizontal and vertical asymptote. For the horizontal asymptote, you try to find out the degree on the top. You try to find out the degree on the bottom. As you can see, that degree on the top is 2 and the degree on the bottom is 1. Whenever degree on the top is greater than degree on the bottom, you don't have any horizontal asymptote. So that means there is no horizontal asymptote. For finding the vertical asymptote, you just make this denominator 0 and solve for x. So let's go here. On the denominator, this is 15. For finding the vertical asymptote, you just make denominator 0 and solve for x. That will give you the vertical asymptote. So the vertical asymptote is x equal to 5. Find out the limit when x approaches to infinity. If you can find the limit on the top and then limit on the bottom, so just do that. And basically, if you're trying to find the limit at infinity, if the degree on the top and degree on the bottom is same, then limit can be the limit would be the coefficient from the top one, the coefficient of highest degree term from the top one divided by the coefficient of highest degree term on the bottom one. So in this case, it's a 5/3. So the limit would be 5/3. Okay. Once again, this is the limit question. Find out the left hand limit and right hand limit, and then you have given graphs. Choose the graph, and these are the property you have given. Sorry, you need to choose the graph using this property. So the value of the function at 3 is -1. So look at, just choose the first one. The value of the function at 3 is -1. At 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's -1. So this is -1. No, this is -1. So this is not the right answer. Let's go to the next one. Value of the function at 3, 1, 2, 3 is -1. Yes, that's right. The limit of the function when x approaches to 3 from left side is -1 here in this graph, but the given thing is it's a positive one, so that's not the right graph. So the value of the function at 1, 2, 3 is -1. That's right. Limit of the function when x approaches to 3 from left side is negative. Is in this graph it's a -1, but actually it should be positive one. So this is not the right graph. Let's go to the next one. The value of the function when x is equal to 3 is -1. That's right. And the limit of the function when x approaches to 3 from the left side is +1. That is also right. The limit of the function when x approaches to 3 from the positive right side is -1. That is also right. So this is the right graph. Is f of x continuous at x equal to 3? Remember, a function would be continuous if the limit of the function at that point is the value of the function. But at this point 3, the limit, the left hand limit and right hand limit, they are not same. So limit does not exist. So it's not continuous. You see the jump? That's why it's not continuous at 3. Okay, so one more time, finding the value of the function, answering the question about the limit. So I'm going to skip this for you. Okay, there is a graph. You just have to answer by looking the graph how to find limits and find the function value. We need to find out either this function is continuous, and if you have a radical function, that function is continuous in its domain. So here the function is square root of x squared plus 25, and no matter what you pick, either x is positive or x is negative, you are going to find the value of this function because x squared is always positive. So either x is negative or positive, you can find out the value, and there is no restriction. So that's why this function is continuous everywhere. It's continuous everywhere. So how do you write that? Negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, everywhere. This is how you write the all real number. You have given function, you need to find out the derivative of this function. It says use the 4-step process, meaning find out fx. You need to find out the derivative. This is problem 20. You need to find out the derivative by finding this limit. So when h approaches to 0, fx plus h minus f of x over h. So 4-step process means find out the difference between them, find out the quotient, and find out the limit. So that is the 4-step process. But there is no way I can check either you are using the 4-step process or you are just using the power rule. It's up to you. After finding this limit, I should be able to find out the value. I'm not going to find out this difference, quotient, and divide it by h and find the limit. I will let you do that. You can do it. It's very simple thing. Now after that, your derivative would be -2x plus 7. That is the derivative we are going to find after finding this limit. Now to answer this question, rest of the question, just find out the value of the function when x is 1, which is basically 5, and then do the same thing when x is 2 and then x is 3, and then you should be able to find out the rest of the answer. So I'm just going to show you the this is completed work. If you use the limit definition here, remember this is I used a different function here, and I'm just showing you the completed work. So this is different function. For this function, the derivative is negative 2x plus 9, and finding the value of the derivative at different points, just replacing this x by those points, those x. Okay. Now this is the word problem. The consumption of tungsten in metric tons. It's some kind of I don't know. It's let me just find out what is this. Okay, it's a metal. Okay, it's a metal. So the consumption of this tungsten metal is given by this function uh, in metric tons. So the sometimes we don't know the meaning of some of the things like they are using here, but we just have to find out the way to answer the question by using our knowledge in from this course. So in this course we know how to find the derivative. This is the consumption. This is p of t is just a model for the consumption, and this is quadratic function. And now we want to find out the derivative of that function by using the four-step process. So the way we did before, we can do the same thing, but I will let you do that four-step process. After you use that four-step process, the derivative of this particular function would be, let me just use a completed work so that I can tell you this. The derivative of this function is 2 times 136, which is 272 t plus 1076. So that is your derivative. And now you want to find out what is the consumption in 2030 when time t equals 0. That's 2010. So 2030 means t should be 20 years from 2010. So just replace the time t by that 20 years, and it should be able to give you this answer. And for that one, the instantaneous rate of change, you have to use the derivative. So you have to replace t equal 20 here to answer this question. You have to replace t equal 20 here in the function to find out the answer for the first part. So now by looking this rate, you can say that the rate is increasing because the slope is going up. That's why in 2030 90,831 metric tons of tungsten are consumed, and this quality is increasing at a rate of 6,516 metric tons per year. So 6,516, that's the rate in 2030. So this is positive value, that's why it's increased. In 2030, this is the consumption. It's coming from the value of the function p of t when t is 20, and it's increasing because the derivative at 20 is positive, and the value is 6,516. So sometimes even you don't understand some of the word you have given, just try to connect the information you have given with the topic you covered in the course. Find out the derivative. It's just a power rule, so it's a 7 times 2 is 14 x to the power 6. Find out the derivative. Again, you can use the power rule. The derivative of the first part is -9. The derivative of second part is 0, so the answer is -9. Okay, again the derivative, you can use a power rule by bringing that square root of x on the top. So this is problem 24. So you can rewrite that question as -12 times x to the power -12. I can take that square root of x, which is x to the power half, to the top, and I can write it down like this. Now finding the derivative is easy just by using power rule. This is exponent comes here times x to the power half minus 1. So if you multiply this two, it will give you 6, and this is x to the power -3/2. Eventually you want to bring that negative exponent down so that it could be positive exponent. So the answer is 6 over x to the power 3/2. Okay, Finding the derivative one more time, you have, the top part, you have the bottom part. It looks very complicated, but you can simplify this. You can divide each term by x to the power 4, and then you can use the power rule. I'm just going to do the simplification for you, and then after that I will let you use power rule to solve this problem. The simplification for this particular problem would be, I can rewrite this problem. This is question 25. Y equal x to the power 7 over x to the power 4 minus 8x to the power 6 over x to the power 4 plus 8 over x to the power 4. So if you simplify this one, it will give you x cubed. If you simplify this one, it will give you x squared. And this one can be written as 8 times x to the power negative 4. Now finding the derivative is just using the power rule. And if you use the power rule, it would be 3x squared. It's a 16x. And this one would be 4 times negative 4 times it is negative 32 x to the power negative 5. But you cannot keep the negative exponent, so you have to make it positive by bringing that down. So that's your derivative. 3x squared negative 16x, 3x squared negative 16x negative 32 over x to the power 5, 32 over x to the power 5. Okay, once again you have given a function. This is the word problem, but to answer this question you have to just find the derivative here. A person x inches tall, that's the height of the person, has a pulse rate of y beats per minute. So you can model a pulse rate by using the height. It's given by approximately, this is just a model. So pulse is equal to 600 times x to the power negative half, where x is from 30 to 75. This only applies for the person who is 30 inch to 75 inch tall. So what is the instantaneous rate of the change of pulse rate for the following heights? To answer this question, find out the derivative of this and then just replace x by 38, and that will give you the answer, which is negative 1.28. Just find out the derivative of this function the way we found the derivative here, and then just replace x by 38 for the first part and then 55 for the second part, and it will give you this answer. Simple derivative. You have given cost function here. Find the marginal average cost function. If cost and revenue are given by, this is cost, this is revenue, the marginal average cost function. Marginal average cost function is it's a derivative of this is how you define. So I'm going to okay, so to answer this question, what is that? So a marginal average cost function, first of all you have to find out the the average cost function, which is c bar x. So c bar x is, where is that? Okay, so let's use this one. You have given cx, so marginal cost function, you can find the marginal average cost function is the derivative of c bar x. So first of all you need to find out what is c bar x. This is problem 27. C bar x, marginal cost function, is its cost function divided by x. That's the formula, and in this case its cost function is 133 plus 3.3x divided by x. And if you divide this by x, it will be 133x plus 3.3. This x and this x will be cancelled out after splitting into two parts. So now to answer this question, you just have to find out the derivative of this part. So the derivative of this is the derivative of the first part, which is negative 132 divided by x squared, and derivative of second part is 0. So that is your answer, negative 133 divided by x squared. Okay, so that's what we found here. Okay. Okay, so that's the right answer. So let's go to the last problem. Here you just have to answer. You have given p of x, and then you have to answer a couple of questions. You have given here, find the average profit per mower if 50 mowers are produced. So this is the profit, and from the sale of x lawn mowers. So x is the number of lawn mowers, and find the average profit. So you need to find out the average profit and the marginal average profit at production level of 50 units. So first of all, find out the average profit. So in this case, where is that? Okay, so to answer this question, we have to do the same thing whatever we did before. Like, if you have given function to find out the average, you just divide that by x, and then to find out the marginal, you just have to find out the derivative. We do the exactly same thing to answer this question. So here you can see that p of x is given. My pen is not working, so let me just take my time. So just find out p bar x, which is average profit divided by x, and simplify that. And for this problem, let me just use a completed work so that I can explain you uh, without spending time here. So let's say for the first one, this is, my pen is not working here. Just give me a second. Okay, so in our problem here, problem 28, it's working now. P bar of x, which is average profit, is p of x over x. So divide whatever you have given for the p of x, that is 20x minus 0.02x squared minus 750 divided by x. So just simplify, divides each term by x. So 20x over x minus 0.02x squared over x minus 750 by x. Okay. Okay, so let's simplify that. So we can just simplify it. So it will be 20 minus this x and this x, you can cancel it, 0.02x minus 750 over x. So to answer the first question, you just have to find out the value of this thing when x is in our case it's 50. So when x is 50, just replace x by 50, and that will give you answer $4. So that would be your $4 answer. You can calculate that. Just divide this by 50, uh, and then just multiply this by 50 and do this math. It will be the $4. So next question is the marginal average profit at a production level of 50 unit. So to find out that marginal average profit, you find the derivative of this function, the derivative of this one, which is the average profit is this, and you want to find out the marginal average profit, so you need to find the derivative of that, which is a derivative of 20 is 0, derivative of this one is 0.02, and derivative of 1 over x mix is positive. So this is the marginal profit, and if you replace that by 50, I guess it's 50 here, yes, 50, and that should give you 0.28. So that is your answer for the second part. Now, so that's the answer, and from this we can interpret at a production level of 50 hours, the average profit is increasing. The profit is increasing because the rate is positive. That's why it's increasing at a rate of 0.28, and that's what we found here. Okay. Using part A and B, the estimate of the average profit per hour if 51 hours are produced is 428, and it's coming from for the 50, that's $4, and to produce one more, it cost 28 cents more. So altogether it's $4.28. Okay. So that's practice, test one practice, and all the best for your test.